Shalom, shalom, everybody online. Shalom, classroom, shalom. Shalom. Yahweh Shema Mashiach wa Malak Yahushai. Shabbat shalom to the 12 tribes scattered abroad. Another Sabbath service, giving all honor and all glory to Yahweh. Shema Mashiach wa Malak Yahushai. Double honor to the elect elders in the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting for the second coming of Yahushai. A hearty shalom to you mighty men that go out there and labor on the highways and byways, risking your life to magnify the name of the Lord and the ministry. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there as of yet on the highways and byways, but they're working on it. Again, put up in the spirit, they're praying, fasting, studying, being diligent, and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters out there, married and unmarried, reverencing their husbands, holding down the household, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers, Esther, Judith, Martha, Mary, Sarah, and the list goes on and on and on, right?
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. All praise to the Most High for another Sabbath, another day of repenting, another day of getting our spirits in order before the great and dreadful and terrible day of the Lord come. As we always start off, we're going into Acts chapter 18 and verse 4. Acts chapter 18 and verse 4. Right? And I pray that everybody has been watching. It's been like 10, 12 blood moons in a row. Right? So we know that the times are coming close where all hell is about to break loose in Babylon. Right? So now is the time to start getting your garment more white. Right? Letting off day to day the sins that are holding you back. Right? Repenting for the sins that you were doing presumptuously and unwilling and unbeknown. Right? So it's time to get in order, man. It's time to make sure that you're holding your body in subjection, man. Right? You're mortifying those members. Right? Acts chapter 18 and 4.
That's the book of Acts, chapter 18 and verse 4. And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Right, so another Sabbath service to persuade Israel, who knows that the Israel to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments, the faith in Yahweh Shem Yahushai, right, the brotherly love, the charity, all things that are good in the sight of the Lord. And those who don't know that they're Israel, to find out who they are. Come to the Sabbath service, get online, search diligently, because the time is at hand to repent. Right, and the only way we can do that is Philippians 4:13. Right, this is the only way we can come back to serving our God, to finding out what he truly requires of us, to truly understand what it means to love the Lord, right? Bear with the brother, we was out in the storm, man.
1:13. Book of Philippians, chapter 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Hamashiach, which strengthened me.
Right, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we're able to cast down these false doctrines, get the proper understanding, and be able to fulfill the words that the Lord has spoken to us, that he has commanded us to do. Right, so like the brother said, we're going into Deuteronomy 17 today. Right, first Sabbath service, we're going to touch on the law. Second one is going to get deeper into prophecies and things of that nature, right? But it's always good to come back to the milk, to get the understanding, right? Come back as a babe, right? It's always good to come back and get this milk all over again, man. You're never in this truth long enough to not require milk, right? So we're going to start with Deuteronomy 17 and verse 1.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 1. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish, or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Yeah, right. So this is actually the law. So when you're sacrificing your animal to the Most High, sin offering, burnt offering, right? Because you have different types of offerings: burnt offerings, sin offerings, peace offerings, meat offerings, grain offerings. So the animal that you offer, rather, is a lamb, and this was done in the ancient world. Don't go try to find a lamb now or a bullock from your local farmer or whatever the case may be and offer it to the Most High. This was done in the ancient world, and you have to literally inspect your animal. You have to literally pull back the fur, see if you have spots on them, look behind the ear, flip over the leg, You have to, make sure he can walk all right. You might have to do a little test run. Can he walk? If you got a limp on him, then you can't sacrifice that animal. So you got to really put this thing to the test, man. Because whatever's offered up to the Most High, it has to be without spot and without blemish. Let's go to real quick Malachi chapter 2 and verse 1. Right? Whatever's offered up to the Lord has to be without spot and without blemish. This is animal sacrifice, right? In the ancient world. And our bodies are presented as a living sacrifice. So when you offer yourself up to Yahweh, you have to make sure that you're without spot and without blemish.
That's right.
So bring that out, King.
Book of Malachi, chapter 2, and verse 1. And now, O ye priests, the commandment is for you. If ye will not hear, and if ye... Salakia, start from top. Malachi chapter 2, verse 1. And now, O ye priests, this commandment is for you. If ye will not hear, or if ye will not lay it to heart, to give glory unto my name, saith the Lord of hosts, I will even send a curse upon you, and will curse your blessings. Yea, I have cursed them already, because ye do not lay it to heart. Behold, this is verse 3. Behold, I will corrupt your seed, and spread dung upon your faces, even the dung of your solemn feast, and one shall take you away with it. And ye shall know that I have sent this commandment unto you, that my covenant might be with Levi, saith the Lord of hosts.
See that? So the covenant was with the Levites, right? And they had to offer up the animal sacrifices. And Malachi chapter 2 is really a judgment on the Levites due to how they disobeyed the laws of sacrifice and became complacent. And they began to offer up animals with blemishes. They stopped checking. They will have in their flock a well-fed, healthy animal, and they'll keep it and eat it for themselves. And then the animal that was blemished, they say, we'll just get out to the Lord. It is what it is. Right? The Lord had his animals all beat up and bruised up. We're going to eat the good one for ourselves. So what? So the Lord cursed them, man. Why do you think the so-called Haitians are the poorest country in the world right now, man? Those are the Levites. They're literally spreading dung upon their faces, eating mud pies. They got earthquakes every year. 10.5 earthquakes off the scale, man. Tsunamis. Esau's robbing them every day, looting them. They can't have a navy. They don't have an air force. They're done, man. Out of all the tribes, Levi is the poorest tribe. Why? Because they were held to the highest standard as to the priesthood of the Most High. Real quick, one more. Malachi chapter 1 and verse 7. Right? Malachi 1 and 7. Come.
Book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 7. Ye offer polluted bread upon my altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? In that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible.
Yeah, they was offering up polluted bread. Let's read on. It might have been moldy, might have been a bite mark, and somebody might have bit it. When you read the law, you got the 6 here, the 6 just might kind of bit it, then put it back. Crumbs, they sprinkled the crumbs all over it, flipped it upside down. It wasn't done all the way. Then put the frankincense on top, put some over here. They stopped caring, man.
That's right.
Like Jake, man, you might get up and pray, not pray. Then damn, you on your phone praying, and you on Twitter, man.
Watching TV.
Yeah, you watching TV. Thank you, Jesus. And while you flipping your fire stick, man, for the big fight. That's you doing the same thing the Levites was doing. Because remember, our prayers are what? Spiritual sacrifices, pursuant to Psalms chapter 141 and verse 2. The Lord said, lift up your hands as the evening sacrifice. So your spiritual sacrifices, you have to be into this thing, man. You got to want to do it, man. You can't be like our forefathers when you get complacent doing the work of the Lord. Right? So let's read on.
Verse 8. And if he offer the blind for a sacrifice.
What did the Lord say?
If he offer the blind for a sacrifice.
Right?
Is it not evil?
That's evil, man. The Lord is supposed to have the animal male of the first year without spot, without blemish. Abel did it. Noah did it. Abraham did it. Isaac, Jacob, all of our fathers did that. But now you want to offer up the blind. You understand? Now we can touch on the spiritual level. Let's read on.
Salakia. Offer it now, lame and sick, Is it not evil?
Right?
Salaki. Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee or accept thy person? Saith the Lord.
Yeah, that's a rhetorical question, right? Is the Lord said, well, just offer it to your governor? That's rhetorical, man. Most I kind of played, offer it up to your governor, man. You think he's going to accept it? Why would I accept it? If the priest ain't going to accept it, how am I supposed to accept it? Now, the Lord said, if you offer up the blind, the lame, and the sick, is it not evil? I got a quick precept. Let's go to Romans chapter 15. Right? Romans, the 15th chapter. And that applies to this day. You cannot offer the lame, the blind, and the sick. Let's go to Romans 15 and 16. Because remember, we're priests of the Most High. We may not be Levitical priests, but our priesthood is the priesthood of Melchizedek. Melchizedek or Mashiach Yahushua been the top high priest, and we're the lesser priest in that order. So let's go to Romans chapter 15 and 16 and read about this sacrifice that we have to offer. Right? And it cannot be lame or sick or blind. Right? You can be physically blind, and you can also be what? Spiritually blind. So let's read.
Book of Romans, chapter 15 and verse 16. That I should be the minister of Yahushua HaMashiach to the Gentiles, ministering the gospel of Yahweh, that the offering up of the Gentiles might be acceptable, being sanctified by the Holy Ghost.
See that? So what is our offering that we're offering up? No, not right here. What is it? You teaching the Gentiles. That's your new sweet savor to the Most High. Whenever you teach the Gentiles, meaning our brothers who do not know who they are, that's a sacrifice to the Most High. It's like a bullock or a lamb. Now, can you offer up the Gentile to the Most High? You teach him, but he's still spiritually blind. He still don't know what's going on, right? He's still lost. He's still in the world, but you're trying to offer that offering to the Most High. You got to cure him of his blindness. Then he can be sanctified to the Most High. Just like in the law, you can't offer up a lamb that's blind, that's deaf, that's lame in the way. So just like our people who have become beasts, who are in the world, they can't be lame, they can't be blind, they can't be deaf. When you're teaching these people, and when the Most High is coming to deliver them, he's going to deliver those that are without spot and without blemish. So we have to make sure our people that we offer are in like manner without spot and without blemish. So every law, there's a physical side to it, and it's also a spiritual side to it.
God, let's go to 1 Peter chapter 1 and verse 18. Right, that's a real good point, man. Because a lot of people, they come into this truth, right, and they feel like they're doing it wholeheartedly, but the whole time they have blemishes in their spirit, man. Right, they holding on to the ways of the world. Right, their garment is all spotted up, man. They walking around lame, trying to be the top Israelite, and condemning the next man when they haven't examined that being within their eye, man. That's how you walking around and present yourself a lamb with blemish, man. Right, you're unblemished. You want to be unblemished in this truth, man. Right. Reproving your own ways, right? Correcting your own self, man. That should be the first person you want to correct is yourself before you want to correct everybody else. Or you just a walking hypocrite. Right, let's get that. Okay. 1 to 18.
Book of 1 Peter, chapter 1, verse 18. For as much as ye know that ye were not redeemed with corruptible things, as silver and gold.
Right, so we weren't redeemed. Our spirits weren't redeemed with 30 shekels, right? 40 shekels. These corruptible things that'll be burnt with fire. Right, that's what a lot of people are thinking that is going to redeem them in these last days. How much money they put into the church, right? How much they donate to these camps, right? None of that's going to redeem you. Right, keep reading, kid.
From your vain conversations received by tradition from your fathers.
Right, we figured this out through Christianity, man. The more money we put in the pot, the less our sins are going to go up to God. Right, and that's how Christians think in these last days. And that Christian mentality is coming into this truth as well, man. People thinking, oh, I gave to this camp, I'm saved. My sins are forgiven. No, it's much more than that, man. These spiritual sacrifices don't require just money, man. The works go deeper than just giving to a camp. These works go deeper than just talking to a brother every Sabbath, man. Right? You got to walk this truth every day. You got to counsel brothers. You got to make sure you keeping the commandments. You got to make sure you repent. Right? You getting your house in order. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 19. but with the precious blood of Hamashiach.
That's what we're being saved by. Right? The precious blood of the Lord, man.
That's right.
Right? He sacrificed himself for all of us, man. If it wasn't for the Lord, we wouldn't know a damn thing right now.
That's right.
We'd still be walking in the world blind and maimed, man. Right? Read it from the top again, Baba Michelle.
Verse 19.
Come.
Verse 19. But with the precious blood of Hamashiach, as of a lamb without blemish and without spot.
Right? How much more if the Lord gave his only begotten son without blemish or without spot for the nation of Israel? How much more should we go harder so we can try to be without blemish and spot? Right? Didn't it say you should always keep your garment white? So what does that mean? You got to be reproving yourself. You got to be reading and understanding where you're falling short. Because if you're not reading, you don't know where you're falling short at. You're going to keep walking on that same path and tripping over that same rock. Right? That rock and stumble is going to continue to be in your face until you get back in this scripture and start reading. Start reproving and cleaning yourself, man. Washing yourself with the water, which is the word. What you got?
Come, let's go to Philippians chapter 4 and verse 17. So this all goes back to the law, man. Remember, the law is a shadow of things to come. So everything we read about in the law, you can't just say, well, that's done away with. Because the entire so-called New Testament and the ministry of it is predicated off of the law. It's all based off of the law. Why do you think Paul was speaking about sacrifice? Where would he get that from? From the law, right? What about without spot or without blemish? It all goes back to the law. So let's read Philippians chapter 4 and verse 17.
Book of Philippians chapter 4, verse 17. Not because I desire a gift, but I desire fruit that may abound to your account.
Right? He wants the church of Philippi to increase. Go on.
But I have all and abound. I am full, having received
of Epaphroditus,
the things which were sent from you, an odor of a sweet smell, a sacrifice acceptable, well pleasing to Yahweh.
See that? Alms, gifts, righteous works, charity, it's all sacrifices. Why? Because we're priests. And you have to conduct yourself as a priest, man. What happened if the priest didn't do the duties? He was put to death, man.
That's right.
Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, if I'm not mistaken, guess what? They put strange fire in the incense, and the Lord killed them. He didn't say, well, it's not that bad. You made a mistake. Why don't you just get it right next time? Right? You shouldn't do it like that. No, man. The Lord said, wink not at your son's fathers. Right? The Lord didn't wink at that. That was fire, and the Lord killed them. So you got to make sure the sacrifices that you're doing to the Most High is what? Perfect and consistent and diligent. And this gift, this offering is what? They gave alms to the Apostle Paul. That's a spiritual sacrifice. We went into teaching the Gentiles. That's a spiritual sacrifice. And all of this has to be without, even you giving alms is without spot, without blemish. And you shouldn't give it expecting nothing in return. That's a blemish in you giving alms. You giving alms and you want to be seen of man. That's a blemish in your sacrifice. So make sure all your works that you're doing is sincere without spot or without blemish. Otherwise, it's in vain. It's not a sweet savor to the Most High. You know? You got it.
Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, and we can start at verse 6. Right? 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 6. And that's very important, man. When you do your arms, man, you shouldn't let your right hand know what the left hand is doing, man. It should be done in secret, man. If you're going to help somebody out, don't get your camera out. I seen a video the other day that it was a homeless man in Starbucks. Dude pulled his phone out and said, order anything you want. Well, that's done in vain, man. Right. It's done to be seen of men. Right? Your works, right? Your spiritual sacrifices are to be done only that the Lord may see, man. And he's going to magnify you in the midst of men, in the sight of men. Right? Let's get 1 Timothy 2 and 6.
Book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 6. Who gave himself a ransom for all.
Right? So Yahweh gave himself a ransom for all. And that's how us brothers and sisters have to be in this truth. We got to make ourselves a ransom for all. Right? Meaning our works are not just to benefit us, but it's supposed to be benefiting the whole nation, man. Right? It's supposed to be uplifting the whole nation. Right? That's your reasonable service right there. Everything you do is supposed to better the next man in this walk, to better the next woman in this walk, man. You have to make your body a ransom for all. Right? Let's get the definition of a ransom. Right? The definition of a ransom. So brothers can understand that. That's right. Not random. Right.
Yeah, real quick point.
God.
Yeah, they do. They show you that and paid in full, man. Did they kidnap Sonny? Was that his name, Sonny?
God.
ICE kidnapped Sonny, and he had a ransom for him, man. Right, a price on his head to redeem him. You know.
So this is the definition of ransom: a sum of money or other payment demanded or paid for the release of a prisoner. Right. So you're a prisoner in this truth, man. You're a prisoner of hope, man. You're a prisoner of Yahushua. Right? So you got to make yourself a ransom. I mean, you got to do this reasonable work to be redeemed from this hell that we live in, which is Babylon, man. That's really all it's going into. That's your reasonable work. That's your spiritual sacrifices. Present your body a living sacrifice so you can get the hell up out of here, man. It's just that simple. Continue reading, King.
To be testified in due time, whereunto I am ordained a preacher and an apostle. I speak the truth in Yahushua and lie not, a teacher of the Gentiles in faith and verity.
Verity. Right? So you set up to be a teacher to the Gentiles, man. What does that mean? You set up to be that light, right? You set up to be Matthew 5:16, man. You're supposed to be that light to the Gentiles, man. The Lord didn't light that flame in you to hide up under this table where nobody can see it. He put it so you can be on top of that hill so everybody can walk towards you to see, well, what do I got to do to be like you, man? What can I do to be that perfect Israelite, man? Right. Shouldn't nobody look at you and see any blemish in you, man? Shouldn't nobody be able to call your faults out, man? That's why it's time to sit back and examine, man. Right? You got to sit back and look at yourself and see, am I that light set on the hill or am that light under the bushel where nobody can see? If you're that light under the bushel, then don't come around this camp. That goes for men and women, man. We don't have time for brothers to be out here half-assing in this truth, man. Because that spirit gonna hop on the next man, it's gonna hop on the next sister. Next thing you know, the whole congregation gonna fall apart, man. Everybody should be letting their light shine in these last days, man. More brotherly love, more sisterly love, more helping those who need the help. More videos, more counseling, more answering DMs. That's a part of your reasonable work, man. That's your ransom right there. That's how you're going to be delivered if you be the Lord's will. By putting in more work, more money, your spiritual dollars to get up out of this spiritual jail. That's your bond right there.
We can go back to Deuteronomy. So everybody understand about sacrifices? Spiritual sacrifices in the last days. Right? All of your works are spiritual sacrifices, man. Right? The Lord said in Proverbs 23:7, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Right? So you have to understand that you are a priest, man. Walk around like a priest, man. Conduct yourself like a priest. Brothers dress like a priest. The brother dressing like a priest. He got the damn thing going and the mitre on. Brother to come in sagging, you know, with some damn what up shape like the word, man. He got the shirt lifted up to show his Louis belt.
The brother even got on sandals.
See that? He got on the sandals, man. He kind of getting into this thing. He has 1,000 manures on his shirt. And a lion, man. So the brother's on fire. So you conduct yourself like a priest, man. You might have a shofar in your hand, right? So you got to get into this thing, man. So let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 17 and let's read one more time.
Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 1. Thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein is blemish or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
Right, go on.
If there be found.
Yes, Lucky. One more quick point about teaching the Gentiles. If you're teaching a false doctrine, then you're putting blemishes on them. You're teaching that the chariots don't exist. You understand? And it's okay to eat pork. That's off, man. You got brothers saying the Day of Atonement is a feast day. Why are you fasting? You should be feasting. Right? You're teaching people, you're putting blemishes on them, huh? And you're causing them to be lame. Right? I just wanted to make that point. We can go on.
Verse 2. if there be found among you within any of thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman that have wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant.
Yeah, meaning breaking the law. If you find anybody breaking the law, whether it's adultery, man stealing, theft, you understand, sorcery, wizardry, right?
And have gone and served other gods and worshiped them.
It can be Allah, white Jesus, Molech, money, weed, liquor. All these can be other gods and powers, right?
Either the sun or moon.
You got people worshiping the sun. I worked with a brother, man. He said, I worship the sun because it's hot. And it's warm. I said, all right, brother, you go ahead and do that, bro. I'm going to serve the Most High. Right? So we can go on either the sun or what?
Or moon.
You got people worship the moon. You got women that worship the moon. Oh, it's my time on the month. You know what that means with the moon. Put spells on people with the moon. You got Eve, man. I went on damn Twitter to type in the blood moon to see if anybody posted about the blood moon. You got witches on there calling their flower the blood moon, saying, oh, you know, all hell is about to break loose, right? Because they worship that moon, that energy, right? So you got women that worship the moon and men, right? A lot of witches and warlocks, they deal with the moon, right? We can go on. Oh, go ahead.
Even with the sun, that's how the Sunday worship even come about. You know what I mean? That's why with the Sunday churches, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They worship the sun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
So that's going against the Most High's laws anyway. You know what I mean? Continue. Or any of the hosts of heaven.
Yeah, the constellations, the stars, that goes into astrology, zodiac signs. That's the host of heaven.
Which I have not commanded, and it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones.
And shall what?
Shall stone them with stones till they die.
Till they die. That's the law. This is how you administer justice in the ancient world. The Lord didn't say, well, you got somebody going off, call the police. Send them to therapy. Send them to your psychiatrist. Let them do what they want to do. Right? That's not in there, man. The Lord said, find out, and the key point it says, if it be told thee, you got brothers that tell brothers, this guy's going off, just let him do it. Right? Let him do what he want to do. It's not that bad. It said, if it be told thee, and thou hast heard it, and inquired diligently. So guess what? You can't just hear it and go with it. You got to go see if that thing is true. You got brothers that just hear stuff. Go search it out, man. Yeah, I heard Rudy was committing adultery with so-and-so wife. Oh, yeah? Get him out the congregation. So we got to go see if that thing is true.
That's right.
We're going to go talk about it. We're going to see about it. The Lord said, the classic in 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Anything that's brought to your ears, you have to inquire diligently. That's the law, right? Because you can get yourself jammed up or you can get somebody else jammed up. Somebody say that you committed adultery with somebody white. Those are fighting words. Then the brother say, nah, I just got mad because brother owed me 5. And you already beat the brother up, huh? Right? So that's your fault. Right? So that's both of you. Now y'all in sin. Right? The brother that slandered and you who didn't inquire diligently and lay hands on your brother.
That's right.
So let's read that.
Book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 21.
This is part of the law.
Prove all things.
But the Lord say,
prove all things.
Yeah, you got people saying, well, Paul's not part of the law. That is the law, man.
That's right.
Everything in the epistles, it goes some form of fashion, whether it was told orally or it's written manually, it goes back to the law. Prove all things, go on.
Hold fast that which is good.
Meaning don't slip and slide and go into other doctrines. Hold fast to the Most High. So part of that law is you have to inquire diligently concerning things that are brought to your attention. Right? So let's read. Oh, yes, I'm.
God, let's go to Leviticus, the 5th chapter, and the 1st verse. Right? So that's very important to Israel, man. If you see somebody slipping, you got to say something, man. Because if you don't, you hold that sin against them and you have blood on your hands, man. Right? It's not a no snitching in this truth, man. You got to let your brothers be reproved, right? You got to reprove before also everybody else could be aware, right? Leviticus 5:1. Pages. 5:1.
Book of Leviticus, chapter 5, verse 1. And if a soul sin and hear the voice of swearing and is a witness, whether he have seen or known of it, if he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
Then you're going to bear that iniquity too, man. Then you deserve the same punishment that they're getting, man. Right? That means you should be stoned as well. You're going to bear that iniquity, man. You're going to bear that sin because you didn't reprove your brother, meaning you hate him or you hate her within your heart. If I know Naquan got a crack demon, I'm not going to let this brother keep doing crack. Because now that I'm bearing that sin, now I'm doing crack with him. Because I didn't reprove him and bring it up so that he can get help through the Spirit, man. Because we're all priests, like the brothers going into. And what's the job of the priest? You got to do sacrifices and you got to deal with different matters. Right? You got to put the weight of this truth on your shoulders, man. You got to bear your brother's burden.
Let's go to Galatians 6:1. This is part of the law, right? Galatians chapter 6 and verse 1 to link up with that. Right, let's go to Galatians because Paul even like we went into everything that the Apostle Paul is going into in some form or fashion. It goes back to the law. He's not making up his own thing. He was directly taught by Yahushua. You understand? He said, "I received this not of man, but of the Lord." So if he was directly taught by Yahushua, then and Yahushua had the Father's doctrine. He gave that to the Apostle Paul. All right, so let's bring that up.
Book of Galatians, chapter 6 and verse 1. Brethren, if a man be undertaken in a fault.
If a man be overtaken, a man slip up. Let's say he slip up and eat pork, right?
Which are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of meekness.
That's the law. Restore such a one. How do you restore it? By letting that brother know he went off. And then you build him up with the proper precepts. Just like in the ancient world, it depends on what your sin was. You couldn't really restore such a one. How did you restore him? By sending him to the spirit world. Stoning him. Then you get to try again in the third and fourth generation. But in these days, and you can restore such a one, man, with the words of life. That's why you have the ministration of death. We went into with 2 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, last week or the week before, and you have the ministration of life. Right? So now this is the ministration of life. So you can apply Leviticus 5:1, but you can also restore him now instead of stoning him. So that's why Yahushua gives you that life. And you can repent and not be justified from all things from which you cannot be justified in the law of Moses.
That's right.
Right? So, no, that's it. That. Let's I want to go to Sirach 19 real quick. Just quick precept. 19 and verse 15. Right? Sirach chapter 19. And we're going to go to verse 15 in the book of Sirach. Because Sirach is law too. When you read the prologue of Sirach, it's literally written for men that are addicted to the law. Right? Or addicted to these things. It's a compilation of wisdom from Sirach, his father, and his grandfather. Right? So let's read that. Sirach chapter 19 and verse 15.
Book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 15. Admonish a friend, for many times it is a slander, and believe not every tale.
Yeah, so you got to inquire diligently, man. Sometimes it can be a slander, right? Meaning they're just bearing false witness on your name, trying to corrupt your name. You got to see what's going on, right? Let's read on.
Verse 16. There is one that slippeth in his speech, but not from his heart. And who is he that hath not offended with his tongue?
Yeah, you might say the wrong thing, right? You might say, the Apostle Pork broke down the book. No, then you really meant the Apostle Paul. You kind of slipped up and said the Apostle Pork, right? That's what it means. You slip from the heart, but not from the tongue. Man, you didn't mean it. Pork wasn't on your mind, but so, hey, it happens. We're in the flesh. You can't say that nigga wicked. He said the apostle pork. That brother, I know you can come out of. No, man, you can't do that. Because sometimes you slip from the tongue, but not from the heart, man. Right? And don't keep using that. You keep going off, man. You want to keep using that scripture. You calling your wife by some other name. Right? You pulling this precept. She calling you somebody's name. Well, I slip from the heart, but not from the tongue. Right? No, you got it. You can't just use the scriptures when you just want to, man. That's off. You get hemmed up, man. Right? Let's read on.
Verse 17. Admonish thy neighbor before thou threaten him.
See that? Admonish him. Warn him before you threaten him, right?
And not being angry, give place to the law of the Most High.
Give place to what?
To the law of the Most High.
Give place to the law of the Most High. We're going into the law. Right? We're going into inquiring diligently, man. Admonishing your brother, inquiring diligently of the slander, seeing what's going on. Stop just listening to rumors all the time, huh?
That's right.
Oh, I heard that sister did so-and-so and that cat. Oh, girl, I know she was wicked, right? No, you don't have to be that person, huh? Go figure out if it actually happened. Oh, I heard Mathonica stole that baby. No, go find out if he did it or not, man. Right? Inquire diligently, or you're going to get yourself jammed up. Right? So we can go back to Deuteronomy 1.
Okay, come. Let's go to Sirach chapter 42. Sirach 42. We can start at verse 1. 42 and verse 1.
Verse 1.
You got it?
Book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 1. Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby.
Right, so of these things that's about to be listed, you can't accept no man to sin thereby. You can't be ashamed of these things, right?
Verse 2. Of the law of the Most High.
You can't be ashamed of that or accept any man or woman to continue in their sin. You shouldn't be ashamed to reprove anybody, man. You shouldn't be ashamed to sit there and say, hey, bro, watch your mouth. Hey, watch what you're doing. Right? That's what we're supposed to do as men of the Lord. Right? You can't be ashamed to do that, man. Like, nah, that's a mighty brother right there. I can't talk. Man, if a brother is going off, be the first one to correct him, man. To show that you love that brother.
That's right. Keep going. And his covenant.
And the covenant that is only for Israel. You shouldn't be ashamed to tell the heathen that, look, this ain't for you, man.
Right.
This is only for Israel, man.
That's right.
Keep it moving.
And of judgment.
And the judgment that comes with you breaking these commandments, man. But you shouldn't be ashamed to tell a Sodomite, hey, you're going to be put to death if you don't repent.
That's right.
Where in adultery, you're going to be put to death in the midst of everybody if you don't repent. You shouldn't be ashamed of these judgments, right?
To justify the ungodly.
You can't justify the wickedness that men like to dwell in, man. Because every man is battling some wickedness, man. That's a condition of the battle. Right? You got to overcome this flesh to be part of the elect if it's of the Lord's will. Right? So everybody's battling something. But you can't let your reverence for another man cause you to fall as well, man. If I know that this brother Dennis, he got a bad demon on him, I can't sit there and bat my eyes at him, man. Because that'd be wicked on my end. Right? No, we can leave it at that. We can go back to, you got a precept?
No, we go back.
We can go back to Deuteronomy 17.
Let's read 17 and 5 again.
That's a script. One flip. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, and verse 5. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which hath committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shall stone them with stones till they die.
Yeah, let's go to Hebrews chapter 10. Right? And thou shalt stone him with stones that he died. Right? Let's go to Hebrews chapter 10 and 26. Right? You don't stone them. And everybody got to do it. Right? Everybody got to do it so you can see the pain. You can feel it. And you can know that, hey, look, you better not do this. So that's going to be you. Right? And that's different, man. If everybody taking rocks and stone, and you can't say, I don't want to stone, I'm scared. You got to do it. You better pick up that rock. You better aim at his head or his chest.
Don't be persuaded with fear.
You said what?
Those we persuade with
Yeah,
fear.
those you persuade with fear, save with fear. You can't miss on purpose. I don't want to hit him. You aiming at the Lord sees that, man. Your whole house. You say what? That's right. Your whole house gonna fall apart, man. All right. So you gotta aim at his head, man. Some blood gotta be shown. You gotta get into this thing. And men were stronger back then too, right? Not like Jake Week. You can't do this. Can you help me with the groceries? Right? No, brother. Can you open this jar of pickles for me? They were strong, man. They was taking them rocks. They were throwing them, man. Knocking the ear off. The rocks was bigger too, man. It wasn't picking up you crumbling your hand. It wasn't the rocks in your driveway. Right? These was big cinder block stones. And they could kind of pick them up and just hurl those things, man. And it tell you in the book of Judges, I believe that's chapter 20 and 21, that the Benjamites could take one stone and knock a hair follicle off your head. That's how precise they were. Like they kind of aim it at that one hair follicle. They can knock that one hair piece off and not touch another. So these guys was accurate, man. You know? So let's read that Hebrews 10 and 26.
Hey, Salakia, man. I used to go. That's just one of my things defending myself. But when I was a kid, throwing stones, man.
See that?
Yeah, I'm good at it.
So let's read that.
But this is Hebrews chapter 10 and verse 26. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins.
Yeah, if you're intentionally going off, then there's no more sacrifice for your sins. Right, go on.
But a certain fearful looking for a judgment and fiery indignation which shall devour the adversary.
Yeah, so you got death at your door, right? If you sin it willfully, go on.
He that despised Moses' law died without mercy under 2 or 3 witnesses.
So you have to stone somebody under 2 or 3 witnesses. You can't just stone them by yourself. Y'all in the house together, they go off. Somebody come in the house, the guy's dead, and there's stones everywhere, and you say he went off. You don't have no witnesses, man. Right? That's off. You got to inquire diligently, and it should be 2 or 3 witnesses. Right? So let's go on.
Verse 29. Of how much sorer punishment supposed.
So there's a worse punishment than being stoned. The Lord calls it a sore punishment, man. You might have thought being stoned was bad. The Lord said, of how much sore punishment, go on,
shall he be thought worthy who have trodden on the foot the Son of Yahweh and have counted the blood of the covenant wherewith he was sanctified and unholy thing, and have done despite unto the Spirit of grace.
See that? So you get a sore punishment under Yahweh Shai than you did under the law of Moses, man. Under the law of Moses, you might have got burnt with fire, hung, stoned, whipped, beat. With Yahweh Shai, you're going to get miserably destroyed. That's Matthew 21 and 41. Yahweh Shai said he will miserably destroy those wicked husbandmen and let it out to men that will render their fruits in season. So the Lord got a judgment coming for you, man. A more sore punishment than being stoned. Why? Because you trodden underfoot the Son of God. If you willfully go off, that's what it is. You take Yahweh Shai off the cross, right? You lay him down, you just trample all over him. His blood kind of coming out, kind of spitting on his body. Then you put him back on the slaughter, you put him back on the cross and say, can you forgive me for that? Right? That's evil, man. But that's what you do every time you go off willfully. You take the Lord off the cross, he all beat up and bruised and dead, he got holes in his hands. You lay him down, right? You lay his arms out again, and then you do your willful sin, and right after that, you go trample him underfoot, then you ask, well, can I just get some forgiveness for him? No, it's over, man. It's lights out after that. That's why you get a sore punishment, because now you're dealing with the Son of God. You're dealing with Yahweh Shai, man, who already gave you grace. That's why it says, who had done despite the Spirit of grace. Right? So it is what it is. You got something else? Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 1. Right? So, we brought that out to show you the severity, man. And you have, you can only stone somebody with what? 2 or 3 witnesses. Deuteronomy 17 and verse 6. Yeah, we're about to read it right there. Right? Deuteronomy 17 and 6.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17, verse 6. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death.
See that? And I believe in Islam, I was on Clubhouse a long time ago, and they say you need 7 witnesses. What the hell? And anybody can get away with anything. They say you can't, your wife is not adultery unless you got 7 witnesses, and they got to see the act, right? In person. They got to see the actual physical act. Well, your wife, your woman can just go off. What's the chances of 7 people being around and they all catch the act of adultery going on, right? So they don't know what's going on, right? They still stone people out there. They dig a hole, they put you in a hole. There's videos on it. And they kind of just throw them stones fast, man. When you see the video, it was coming in like that, right? It threw acid on people out there. A lot of you Jakes, you couldn't make it over there, man. A lot of Eves, you couldn't make it. You have acid on your face, man. And these East Indians, they just hung a girl off a bridge for what? Wearing pants. This just happened, like this week. They said she was doing a prayer. The family said, "Why you got on pants?" She said, "I want to wear pants." Basically, she said, "I want to be like the white woman." They said, "Oh yeah," the brothers came, the cousins came, the uncles came, kind of beat her up, took her across a bridge, and they hung her for wearing pants. So they don't play that. They still got that ancient mind frame over there. A lot of those guys are drunk. Some of them, they still in this thing. They still they don't apply the laws of the Bible, but they apply the judgments. Because every nation back then, they all knew about the judgments, man. That's why the Canaanite, he asked the Most High Abimelech, he said, "Shall thou slay also a righteous nation?" Because he didn't know that Sarah was Abraham's wife. When he took Sarah, he said, "Why did you tell me that this was your brother?" Because he even knew about the laws of adultery. And he knew about stoning, because the Most High made man to be upright, but they sought out their own inventions, But it's going to go back to that in the kingdom, right? Heathen don't get no grace in the kingdom. They're going to get stoned. So imagine stoning somebody with a spiritual body. You got a spiritual body, you can turn the stone to a big stone, heat it up, turn it on fire. You might turn it to ice cold, right? You might just throw the thing, blow their chest up, man.
Make spikes come out.
It makes spikes come out. So they either going to fear you, man. They going to have a lot more fear in their heart than they did during the time of Noah.
That's right. So, Lockie, the reason we wear fringes is because a man broke the Sabbath. What did they do to him? They stoned him, man. Right? So if you break in the Sabbath, you're worthy to be put to death, man. To be stoned. You worthy to be stoned, man. So how much more the smallest commandments that you don't even pay attention to, after you lay down with somebody, you don't wash yourself, right? You don't clean yourself after killing a bug, or you don't throw away that dish where a bug died on. Right? The Lord is going to hold you accountable for all these laws, man. So brothers got to make sure they going back and reading that, because you're going to be judged for that, man. That's the mercy of the Lord. If you're not washing yourself after laying down with your wife or your husband, that's like you taking down the Lord, like we said, you trotted him underfoot. That's the same thing if you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. People may bat an eye at it. Well, that ain't nothing. I don't care. I ain't gonna break my favorite glass because of bug that. I'm gonna wash it out. No, you're gonna be put to death for that too, man. Don't think because you're not following the smallest of the commandments, you're gonna get a pass, man. It's trodden underfoot the Lord if you're doing that as well.
Yeah, that's right. It says Matthew, if you break the least commandment, Let's go to Leviticus 24:10, right? To go into that heathen being stoned, because they did it back in the ancient world. You think if they stoned Israel, the heathen didn't get stoned? They got it worse, man. Because Jake got that. You know what? They brother like, damn, I got to come stone him. That's my brother, my man, cousin. He's cutthroat with the heathen, right?
Leviticus chapter 24, verse 10. And the son of the Israelitish woman, whose father was an Egyptian, went out among the children of Israel. And this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp.
Right, so you got this Egyptian. Remember, you had a mixed multitude that came out with Israel. So you got this Egyptian fighting against an Israelite. Right? So this woman, she ended up laying down with an Egyptian. Right? Now, this could have happened in Egypt, could have happened when they came out. Right? But so she decided to lay with an Egyptian, and now he's fighting with this Israelite. Like I say, spirits are different, man. You bound to get into it with an Egyptian. You in a room with an actual Egyptian all day, y'all roommates. Y'all gonna get into it, man. You gonna do something he don't like, he gonna do something you don't like, and y'all gonna end up beefing. Right? Let's go on.
Verse 11. And the Israelitish woman,
Right, this is an Egyptian, right? The son,
woman's son, blasphemed the name of the Lord and cursed.
right? Blaspheme the name of the Lord. I'm not gonna make an example, but he pretty much, he kind of said F, so and so and so and so. Your God can do so and so and so and so. You know how you get, man. Man, tell your God. He used the name of the Most High. He used the name of the Most High. He said, tell him I said so and so and so and so. Hey, so and so. He kind of got into it, man. That got that thick African accent and was kind of blaspheming the name of the Lord. So let's see what happened.
And they brought him unto Moses, and his mother's name was Shelah, and the daughter of Debri of the tribe of Dan.
See that?
And they put him inward that the mind of the Lord might be showed them.
And they put him inward and they locked him up. They didn't ask him, can you come with us? They grabbed him up and they put him in ward, meaning like in a cell, till they figured out what to do with this guy. Because they never seen nothing like this. They never saw a heathen just outwardly blaspheme the name of the Most High. Right? So we can read on.
Bring forth him that cursed without the camp, and let all.
13.
Oh, so like in 13, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, bring forth him that hath cursed without the camp, and let all that heard him lay their hands upon his head, and let all the congregation stone him.
See that? So heathen gets stoned too, man. Take him outside the camp, because we don't want no blood kind of defiled in the camp from this heathen, and all of the congregation stone this damn Egyptian, man. This is what happens when you blaspheme the name of the Lord. So heathen are going to get stoned too. It's the same thing in Isaiah chapter 60 and 12. For nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish, yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted. Not serving the Most High is blaspheme the name of the Lord. The Lord says in Titus, the 2nd chapter, if women do not follow the attributes listed, it says that the word of God be not what? Be not blasphemed. Right? Being discreet, keepers at home, teachers of good things, to love their husbands, love their children. If a woman isn't doing that, she's blaspheming the name of the Lord. Right? And that's the same thing as what this Egyptian man did. So you might as well be an Egyptian man. You might as well be an Egyptian man if you want to blaspheme the name of the Lord. So that's how this thing works, man.
Come back to Deuteronomy chapter 17. We have verse 7.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 7. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death, and afterward the hands of all the people, so thou shalt put the evil away from among you.
Right.
If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose.
Yeah, what is the place which the Lord chose? Let's go to Deuteronomy 12 and 5. Actually, let's go to 19 and 17. Let's get that instead. So you might have a matter that's too hard, right? You might have, like in King Solomon days, 1 Kings 3, when a woman was disputing whose son it was. How would you know? You just a mortal man. You just the head of your tribe. Didn't have DNA tests back then. You trying to figure out what to do. Hold the baby up to his face. Now hold it up to him. I don't know who's the baby. I don't know who it is. So you might not be able to judge that matter. So just like the so-called white man, he get his court system from the Bible. You might have a court case, but then you might appeal to the Supreme Court or another court. Then it might ultimately go to the Supreme Court, right? Because these judges, they can't answer. So then you got to go to the top Supreme Court. Then you got the Chief Justice, which is like your high priest. And he's the one that makes the final say-so. So the so-called white man's entire system is based off of the Bible, like all these ancient nations. Right, so let's read that, Deuteronomy 19 and 17.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 19 and verse 17. Then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord.
Shall stand before who?
Before the Lord.
Before the Lord, read.
Before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days.
So the priests and the judges, they execute the judgment of who? Of the Lord. Is the Most High going to get off his? Can you go to the third heaven and the Most High kind of sit there listening to you? Okay, no, man. The priests and the judges is like you're standing before the Lord.
That's right.
That's why you have to law. Let's go to real quick to Exodus 22 and 28. So when you stand before the priest, you're standing before the Lord, because these are the men or these are the gods that the Most High set up. Huh? Let's get that in Exodus 22 and 28.
Book of Exodus, chapter 22, verse 28. Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people.
Yeah, who are the gods? We just read it, the priests and the judges. Those are the gods, right? You got Jake on the street, black man is God, man. Black man, God, man. You know you a God, man. You sitting there shooting dice. You a God, huh? Right? He taking your woman, yeah, you a God. Right? He just got into a fight. Yeah, the black man is God. What's the mathematics, God? Right? Hey, that's off, man. The Lord not dealing with that, man. The mathematics, man. 5% spirit, man. You know, the priests and the judges are gods. Y'all are the gods right now, man. Right. Y'all are the priests and the judges in these days, man. Right. So what does the law say? Read it again, King.
Thou shalt not revile the gods, nor curse the ruler of thy people.
Yeah, you can't revile the gods. Revile means speak evil against, man. Look what happened to Miriam. She reviled the God. That's why Aaron said, lay not this sin upon us. Or when we have done foolishly, man. So you revile the gods, you got death coming to you, man.
That was mercy in itself.
Yeah, that was mercy. The Lord just spit on her face. You know? And the ball reviled the gods. David was king. Who is David that I should go? You got many slaves running away from their masters. The Lord killed David. I mean, it's like the Lord killed the ball for that. So you slip from the heart, but not from the tongue, not from the heart. See that? So the thing is, you have men that revile the gods, man. When you slander your brother, you revile the gods. When you go against like the order of Moses, I said you're reviling the gods. That's in Acts, the book of Acts, 23rd chapter.
Acts 23 and 5.
Oh, there you go.
And then you got Acts chapter 5 and verse 1, where Ananias and Severity, they told them bring the money that they had, and they did it. And what happened? They dropped dead before their faces, man. Because you didn't respect the word which the gods had spoken. I mean, the leader of the people. Let me get Acts 23. You can start at verse 2.
Book of Acts, chapter 23 and verse 2. And the high priest Ananias commanded them that stood by him to smite him on the mouth. Then said Paul unto him, Yahweh shall smite thee, thou whited wall. For sittest thou a judge, sittest thou to judge me after the law, and commandest me to be smitten contrary to the law.
Right, so the high priest said, man, hit Paul in the mouth. Right? And only Jake can tell somebody else to hit somebody in the mouth, man. White people don't say that. They be like headbutt him. Right. Or something like that. Right, so the priest said, smite this man in the mouth. And Paul's like, well, what are you going to smite me for? What did I do that was contrary to the law?
Verse 4. And they that stood by said, revilest thou God's high priest?
Right, so they saying, look, you reviling the high priest. Right, knowing that he's the God's of over Israel, man. Like Matthew, what's that? John the 3rd chapter, right? Nicodemus, he was a god of the people. He was a ruler of the Jews, right?
Then said Paul, I wist not, brethren, that he was the high priest, for it is written, thou shalt not speak evil of the ruler of thy people.
Right? He said, I wasn't speaking evil of him, man. Right? So you got to be mindful of the things that you say.
Yeah. Quick point. He's like, I wish not, basically. That's Jake Finesse.
Yeah.
Look, I didn't know he was the high priest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I know that was him. Oh, he the high priest? You can't read it like an old nasty white man. I'm like, what's not? He was the high priest. Oh, that's the high priest? Shit, I didn't know. Look how he acted. He hit me in the damn mouth, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a spirit Paul in. You don't read it like an old nasty white man. I would just say you got a vision of this thing. Like the brother said, hey, hit this thing on the mouth, man. And get this dude, man. Slapped him in the mouth. Paul said, hey, the Lord gonna smite you, man. What you talking to the high priest like that? I ain't know this thing was the high priest. You know? That's kind of what's going on in this thing, man. These are jakes, man. These not old nasty white men you watch from the old Bible movies from the 80s, man.
That's right.
You know?
So like, yeah, Paul knew who he was, man.
Right.
Paul was raised up to know who the high priest was. He was a learned man from his youth, so he knew who everybody was.
Right.
Man. So that was Paul, like you said, cracking slick, man. Like you do something like, man,
Right.
this is the dude y'all talking about, right? That's how they do when celebrities or basketball players come down to the hood and they start hooping. They start talking trash like, this the dude y'all talking about?
Right.
End up getting their ass bust on the court, man.
Right.
That's how it go, man. That's the same thing that happened in there, man. Not knowing that Paul was above the high priest, man. Right? Because Israel, they think on a carnal level, man. They don't know how the Lord dealing with people, man. That's why you got to be mindful of what you say to people, man. Because Jonah right here can be Paul walking on. He's from the tribe of Benjamin. He can be Paul back on the earth, man. So you got to be mindful of how you talking to people these last days, man. Because the Lord might hit you in the mouth for talking to somebody crazy like that.
Yeah.
Good point. I want to go. So did we read Deuteronomy 19 and 17? So the place is Jerusalem. That's like your modern day Supreme Court. Because you had judges set up throughout the tribes. So let's say you lived on the other side of the Jordan River and the tribe of half the tribe of Manasseh or Reuben or Gad. And it might have been a controversy. Y'all had to come to Jerusalem, huh? You have to leave all the way across the Jordan River and come down to Jerusalem and hear your cause, right? It might have been a lot going on. It might have been a line, right? You might have been there for a few days. You said, why you in Jerusalem? Oh, look, I got, this so-and-so to me, guys. We're going to hear about it, right? And everybody gets to know about this matter, right? Let's go to the book of Exodus 28 and 30. So why would they go to the high priest? Because the high priest had the Urim and Thummim. Right? The high priest had the Urim and the Thummim. Exodus 28 and 30.
Book of Exodus, chapter 28 and verse 30.
But you can start at 29.
Verse 29. And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart when he goeth in unto the holy place for a memorial before the Lord continually.
Yeah, each tribe was represented as a stone. So the Lord had Aaron carry as if he was dealing with the 12 tribes every time he went into the temple. Symbolic for each stone that you can read about. Right? Not that all of the tribes went in, they was upon his breastplate. Right? Go on.
Verse 30. And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim.
The what?
The Urim and the Thummim.
Yeah, you can't buy that on Amazon. Right? Esau don't have that. Right? You can't get it from Walmart. It's not on deal. It's not on your QVC with the white lady selling it. Now we have the Urim Thummim, 1999. You can't find this. Right now, Urim and the Thummim in the Hebrew is a Urim wa Thummim, which means light and perfection. So you have these two stones that are symbolic for Yahweh Shai to execute judgment for the 12 tribes of Israel when there's a matter that nobody knows what's going on. So the high priest would talk to the brother got it. Right? See that's kind of the light and the perfection. That may have been what it looked like, but it was kind of, he had it, and the Lord would kind of talk to him. Rather, he could see through these stones, and could kind of see the judgment of what happened. Right? He would kind of see what happened in the matter, and the Lord would talk to him and say, okay, that's what went down. Right? You got a question? It's light and perfection. That's what it means in the Hebrew. Right? The light meaning it reveals all of the judgments and things that were in the darkness, and it's perfected because his judgment is not of man, it's of Yahweh Yahushua. Given to the high priest that matters that man can't solve, the Most High can solve through the priest. Right? And they don't, and the Supreme Court don't got that now. It's a hung jury. It's day 5 of the trial. And the high priest can have day 6 of the trial. Let's do a recess. You come back in 30. No, this judgment was executed, and it is what it is. Right? Let's get Ezra 2 and 59. So that's what that goes back to the law. And that was even concerning certain things, like even finding out genealogies. Right? You have to use the Urim and the Thummim. Let's go to Ezra 2 and 59. And you're not going to need that in the kingdom of heaven, huh? Because you're going to have the Spirit just working on you. Right? Ezra in the Old Testament. Ezra, the 2nd chapter, in the 59th verse. Right? Ezra chapter 2 and verse 59. Come.
Book of Ezra, chapter 2 and verse 59. And these were they which went up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsah, Sharuk, Adon, and Immer, but they could not shew their father's house and their seed, whether they were of Israel.
Yeah, why couldn't they show their father's house? By show of hand. Anybody know? How?
I believe it because right before this is right before they had a decree to actually go back to their homeland and be there with them.
Okay, well, this is during the time when they're rebuilding Jerusalem. The Babylonians came and destroyed everything. Burnt the temple, burnt the records. Now this is around 457, and they're rebuilding everything. Right? They're rebuilding all of the works, they're building a foundation, and now you have to set everybody back in their order. They didn't just come together and everybody just do what you want to do. You got to get the priests back in order, the Nethinims, the singing men, the Levitical priesthood, and you have to prove that you're a Levite. Right? Right now, brother say from the tribe of Levi, because his dad went to vacation, in the 80s. He kind of came back from Haiti, and now, he think he a Levite. But there's no proof. You kind of just go with it. Right? But back then, you have to prove this thing. Right? So let's read on.
Verse 60. The children of Deliah and the children of Tobiah, the children of Nekoda, 652.
652 children, right?
And of the children of the priests, the children of Abiah, the children of Koz, the children of Barzillai, which took a wife of the daughters of Barzillai, the Gileadite, and was called after their name.
Right, all these men.
These sought their register among those that were reckoned by genealogy, but they were not found. Therefore were they as polluted, put from the priesthood.
Yeah, they had a record of all of the Levites. They came to see if their name was on there. Name wasn't on there. It said you put from the priesthood. We don't know if they're Levite or not. Go on.
Verse 63. And the
that's the governor, right?
Saith unto them that they should not eat of the most holy things, till there stood up a priest with Urim and with Thummim.
See that? That's it on that.
Wow.
Right? They can't eat of the holy things until you have the Urim and the Thummim. So then the Urim and Thummim will say, boom, I know all of Rudy's genealogy going back to Abraham. Okay, this brother, okay, his father's this, his father's this, his father's that. You think from the tribe of Benjamin, you really from the tribe of Levi. You see that? So everybody's genealogy was recorded. And if you didn't know it, the Urim and the Thummim brought everything to light and it perfected the judgment on your genealogy. You got a question?
Yeah, real quick. Even in the 7th chapter, it tell you that Ezra, he was like kind of built up with precepts and all that. So
right.
It's really a foreshadow of how you know it's called spirit. Because the Lord chose Ezra to kind of build him up.
See that? Right, so Ezra was a priest. So if anybody knew about the Urim and the Thummim, it was Ezra himself. Right, one of the direct sons of Aaron. So that's how judgment works, right? You had a matter that man might figure out, 2 or 3 witnesses, you stone it. A matter that nobody knows what's going on, you bring it to the gods, right? You bring it to the elders of your tribe. If they couldn't figure it out, you bring it to the next gods. Then if they couldn't figure it out, if it got so high, you bring it to Jerusalem, right? If it got too deep, then you bring it to the high priest with the Urim and the Thummim, right? Certain matters were actually brought before the king too, right? That's where you have the woman. We don't have to go into all these accounts, but in 2 Samuel, the woman of Tekoa, you read about her judgment was brought before the king. The 2 women who fought, whose son it was brought before the king. So sometimes the judgment can be brought before the king. And that's why, one more point, the king has to know the law. King can't just sit around his throne. He has to literally, as we read, he has to write a copy of the whole law. Yeah, he has to literally write a copy of every precept and every law all the time, so he can know how to execute judgment. Come.
Ezra, right? He's the same as the Ezra.
Yeah, Come. So Ezra is the Greek way of saying Ezra. All right, so it's the same person. So let's go back to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 17,
verse 9.
right? Deuteronomy 17 and 9. So the law gets heavy, man. And the more you understand the law, the better you'll understand the prophecies. Deuteronomy 17.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17,
verse 9.
And verse 9. And thou shalt come unto the priests, the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall shew thee the sentence of judgment, and thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place, which the Lord shall choose, shall shew thee, and thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee.
Yeah, they might say, okay, look, beat this guy with 39 stripes. Okay, this guy deserves death. Or this guy should be able to pay you 20 shekels. You got to do it, right? Go on.
Verse 11, according to the sentence of the law, which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall shew thee to the right hand nor to the left.
Yeah, so if they say beat this guy with 39 stripes, you can't say I'll just do 25. Right? Or burn this man with fire. Right? Anybody know what law that you break when you burn a man with fire?
Witchcraft.
Not necessarily. You could burn somebody with witchcraft with this. If a man takes a mother and his daughter and marries them. You take the mother and the daughter. You try to do a combo. Right? That's evil, man. The Lord said, burn them all with fire. It is wickedness. Right? Wow. So you got to burn that person with fire if they do that. Right? You got Jake, they'll do that, man. They actually do that. Right? Kind of flirting with the mother. Yeah, you kind of brag about it, man. That's evil.
Salaki, I know a brother just got out of jail for that, man.
Wow.
He just got out of jail. He did 10 years. Right? He was with the mom, and then the mom found out about the daughter. But the daughter was 17. Right? He got 10 years in jail for that.
Yeah, a lot of Negro Jake do that, man. You kind of watching the daughter get stuff from the fridge. She got short shorts on, but you're really dealing with he really dealing with the mother. He's sneaking in the daughter room, right? And the mother not gonna say nothing because them bills getting paid, rent is getting paid. She got a roof over her head, and the car note is paid, and he living a so-called wicked best of both worlds, and she all right, and the daughter might be all right too. Right? Let's go to Amos, I believe 2 and 7. That's off, man. Amos 2 and 7.
Oh, man.
No mother may I spirit. Right? Amos chapter 2 and 7. And then, that matter, again, you got to burn them with fire. If you don't burn them with fire, hey, guess what? You might get burnt with fire.
Right.
So this thing is serious.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 2 and verse 7. They shall run like mighty men.
Amos 2 and 7. Come, let's go to Amos chapter 2 and 7. Huh? Don't think Jake wasn't doing that back then. The same men back on the earth. Some of the brother did years for that. You can actually, go ahead, King.
Book of Amos, chapter 2 and verse 7. That pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek, and a man and his father will go in unto the same maid.
And they was doing that too. Go on.
To profane my holy name.
Father-son action. That's evil, man. A father and a son. Right? So that's evil, man. So, things was going like that left in the ancient world. I see how the spirit had to kind of go into that. But
that's all. They slap you. Even though you got some Jake too, when they date the daughter and they come over, mama be trying to, sometimes she with it. She be trying to dress all provocative, you know what I mean? Trying to offer like, you need juice, water, whatever you need, My son-in-law is stroking her hand all over his shoulder. Sometimes they be down with it. It's be wicked.
Back to Deuteronomy 17 and verse 12.
Deuteronomy chapter 17 and verse 12. And the man that will do presumptuously and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die, and thou shalt put away the evil from Israel.
Right, so that man who doesn't want to hearken to the judgment that the priests and the judges put forth, they got to be put to death. Because at the end of the day, that judgment isn't of man, it's of the Most High.
Right.
So you just pretty much spitting in the Most High face if you're not accepting that judgment. Like how the Most High puts the words in certain brothers, so you hear that counsel and that rebuke, right? You don't want to hearken to it the same way. You spitting in the face of the Most High. So that evil has to be put out of Israel, right? That man has to be put to death.
Yeah, like the brother said, not every word is of man, right? You got to be a spiritually minded man, right? Because the Most High say, speaketh once, yet twice, yet man perceiveth it not, right? In Job 33:15 on down. So the Most High can be talking to you, but don't expect, again, like we always say, the Most High just pull up in a chariot, right? You at work, you kind of waiting outside, then you get off of work, the Lord's not waiting for you where you've been at. You ask the Lord to come in, the Lord come in and say, hey, look, I'm about to judge you. No, it don't work like that, man. The Most High talk to you through men. If you don't want to listen, the Most High going to talk to you through judgment.
That's right.
You're going to learn that judgment one way or the other. Yeah, precept.
Proverbs 16 and 1. I can read it. I got it. This is Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 1. The preparation of the heart is man, and the answer of the tongue is from the Lord. Right? So everything is of the Lord, man. If the Lord put it in your spirit to say something off, you get judged for that. The Lord put it in your spirit to do that, man. Because there was some blemish in you, man. And the Lord did it so that judgment can happen. So everything is of the Lord, man. The answer for the heart and the preparation of the tongue.
That's right. So we can go back to Deuteronomy 17 and 14. So it's important, man, to follow in the ancient world, the priests and the judges that were set up. Otherwise, it was nothing but death. And the Most High works through men. You got people who wrote the Bible, who did man, but the Most High used man. Who are you to tell me America's going to be destroyed? The Most High, but man. The Most High uses man. The Lord uses angels. The Lord used the chariots. Everything was made for the Most High's pleasure. That's Revelation 4 and 11. For thy pleasure they are and were created. So let's read that, Deuteronomy 17 and 14.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 17 and verse 14.
Now we're dealing with the king. We dealt with how to execute justice and judgment. Right? Now, real quick before we go there, let's go to Matthew 18 and 15. Right? This is how you deal with judgment and justice. Jake, in the world, you shoot first, ask later. You break in somebody's house, you rob somebody. It's a never-ending chain of violence because nobody knows how to execute the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Right? 1 Corinthians 6:1 and 2, it says, if you got a matter, go before the saints. Because the saints are going to be the ones that say, hey, no, look, here's the precept, here's the precept, here's the precept. This is how it should be done. You're going to Esau, sue him, take him to court, buy an attorney. You're going to get big money, right? You get a 20% increase off the damn case. You got to, it's too much, man. Just go before the saints. No brother in here should have a dispute with one another. You taking him to court. Nobody knows in the congregation what happened. But you missed why? Oh, I took Rudy to court. Well, what's going on? Right? Oh, he owed me $1,000. Come on, brother. Right? We can work that out amongst ourselves, man.
That's right. Salakia, and we was talking about this yesterday. And there's a matter amongst the camp. Stop going to other camps to get a damn judgment and counsel, man. Keep it in-house, man. Right? That's what we're going into in Matthew 18, 15, 16, 17, and 18, man. That's exactly what they're going to, man. You bring people who are in the congregation, man. You don't get every Joe, Blow, and Bob to come find out what's going on, man. Keep these matters in-house, man. Right? It's getting out of hand, man. There's situations going on and brothers is reaching out to different brothers, man. Right? If you on this live and you're in the congregation, don't hit us up about your congregation, man. Keep it in-house. And if the heads of the congregation want to reach out, that's something different, man. But keep everything in-house, man.
Yeah, the Lord said, have one counselor among 1,000. And so, right, man. Have one counselor among 1,000. All right, so like the brother said, if you're in another congregation or you in this congregation, keep it in house. If it's in your family, keep it in your family, man. I'm not going to have a matter in my house that we can't work out, but I'm going to go and do so-and-so, unless I need to, man. You know, so things have to be worked out internally, right? Let's get that in, and they do that in companies and everything, man. You got risk management, you got PRs, all that stuff is worked in house, man. Public relations, risk management, damage control, you know. Google doesn't ask damn Apple how to deal with a situation where the brother should be fired or not. Right? It don't work out like that, man. They don't call up the CEO and say, well, we got this situation going on. No, it don't work like that, man. Let's get that in Matthew 18 and 15.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 15. Moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone.
No, you make a post on Facebook.
Between thee and him alone.
No, you make a diss track about the brothers.
Between thee and him alone.
You had a brother that did that, man. He made a diss track over an old Tupac beat about brothers in the camp, man. Right? Because he poured a gun out on the brothers, man. And said, don't you know I got this thing on me and I'll shoot you. Right? So then guess what? He didn't execute the law. You have to go and judge that matter between y'all two alone. And it should be chiefly in person. Text can get all jammed up. What this nigga talking about? He's not even mad, man. You think he mad as hell, man? This nigga gotta be mad, man. He doing something. The brother kind of sitting there. I hope the brother, and the whole time the brother, I hope the brother, sincere, man. I really love this brother. And you getting on the other side, man, this thing getting on my damn nerves. Hey, man, if it can be worked out in person, get it worked out in person. Right? Between him and him alone. Right? Go on.
If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother.
Yeah, he might say, yeah, Ak, I stepped on your shoes. Look, I apologize. Look, I'll even get you a new pair, Ak. Right? I got some extra money coming in. I'll take care of you. What kind you like? Right? Go on.
But if he will not hear thee,
he kind of keeps stepping on your shoes while you're talking to him. Right? I don't care about that. What law says I can't step on your shoes? Show me in the Torah. Y'all going back and forth. You going to the scriptures. He said it's not in the law. Y'all kind of butting heads, man. In person. Read on.
Then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established.
So how's the law done away with when Yahushua is teaching the law that we just went into? He's literally teaching the law in Deuteronomy 17, but now the law is done away with. So let's say he doesn't hear you stepping on your shoes, then you bring 2 or 3 witnesses. And these guys are going to say, yeah, you always stepping on this man's shoes. We see you do it all the time. Then another witness say, yeah, I did see it. And you can't be a false witness either, because you want to take sides with that brother. Because you kind of crashing at his house that night. and you don't have nowhere to stay. He's the only one that took you in. So you don't want to get on his bad side. You say he really didn't step on your shoes. He was aiming at the damn spot before. So now you got to be just in this thing. The Lord said, "Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil. Now shalt thou thou shalt thou decline in the matter to rest judgment." Paraphrasing. So let's go on.
Verse 17. And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it unto the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as a heathen man and a publican.
Yeah, the church is really going to the ancient word, the presbytery. Right? So you bring it before the congregation. All right? And these guys have to sit there and say, well, look, you're going off. Now he can say, yeah, I didn't see what I was doing. I apologize. Or you can say, look, it is what it is, man. Y'all wicked, man. Right? You're telling me I can't step on shoes. Show me in the law. Now a brother left the camp and he making videos. Right? The Lord said, count that man as a heathen. Treat him like an Edomite, Moabite, Hamite. So you don't deal with him, huh? Right? That's how judgment and justice works, man. That's how you deal with matters with your brother. And that's how every brother should apply the scriptures when you have a matter. Right? And the Lord said it is much better to reprove than to be angry secretly. And he that confesseth his fault shall be preserved from hurt. So if a brother's going off and you feel some type of way, say something. Or it's going to build up to a demon. You might be married. Your wife keep doing something. You boiling up. Every time she do something, you clutching your fist. Damn, the demon, now you blinded out. And there was a brother who told me he blacked out and started choking his wife. He blacked out and all he could see was his hands around her neck. Why am I doing this? Brother, because you didn't tell me you didn't like the unleavened bread like that the first time. All the time, you should have said it the first time. Can you put the cinnamon on it? Next thing you know, damn, 5 months later, you're choking her out, man. You gotta reprove. It's much better to reprove than to be angry secretly, man. Hey, big problems are little problems that wasn't solved.
Molehills in the mouth.
That's right.
We can go back to
verses on that.
Deuteronomy 17, and we have verse 14.
Come.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose, one from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother.
Right, that's self-explanatory, man. You're not going to go make a Moabite the king of Israel, man. You're going to take an Israelite who the Lord chooses, right? He's going to set him up to be king. That's right. Like the Lord had Samuel go anoint David when Saul slipped up, right, and didn't do as he was commanded. He chose David, right? And then David's lineage was chosen after that, right?
You can apply this to book, right?
I mean, yeah, you could. Yeah, you should. You should. Absolutely. 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 No voting for these Edomites to rule over you, man.
That's right.
And yesterday we was at camp. The dude said, we're not included. Didn't we get Barack Obama? But Barack Obama's not our people, man.
Right.
He's not our people. Right? You keep going with it. Because you can use this in a sense of voting. At the end of the day, you're not voting for the king. The Lord is setting the king up. Right?
That's right. Verse 16. But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord has said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
Yeah, quick point. Yeah, read that again, King Salaki.
Verse 16 from top. But he shall not multiply horses to himself,
right,
nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that he should multiply horses.
So you can't be a sellout. right? You can't sell out. Well, I want to go to Egypt to get more horses. Egypt was known for horses back then. Say that in the time of Solomon. Solomon multiplied horses out of Egypt like that, huh? Well, I want to deal with the American government to multiply cars. Well, I want to get more money. I want to get more funds. You can't be a coon and be a king at the same time. You selling out to the so-called white man for material goods, and you want to be a king and a nation of Israel. It don't work like that, man. You can't serve two masters, right? You can't become vain in this thing. Kings are the top servants, right? That's how kings are. We're not like the Lord said that in the book of Luke, that the Gentiles exercise lordship, right, over their servants, but it shall not be among you. But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. So really, when you're a king, you got to be the top servant, huh? You got to deal with everybody's problems, and everybody want to be the king, but nobody wants the responsibilities of being a king, and the stress of being a king, and the problems and the demons you got to fight being a king, right? I want to be the head of the camp. I want to be where Amos is sitting. You don't know what Amos got to deal with, man. Amos don't tell you everything he's dealing with. He might be having nightmares and damn visions and demons working on him 24/7, right? So that's how it works in this thing. Brothers want to be the king, but you got to be willing to take everything that comes with being a king. The positive things, you might be a famous king, you might be a well-known king, but internally you might be dealing with a lot. And you got to be dealing with a lot and serve everybody wholeheartedly. So it's a lot that goes with being a king. That's why Moses was called the king in Deuteronomy 33, but also in Numbers 12 and 3, that he was the most weakest man on all the earth. Right? So let's read on.
For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way.
Right?
Verse 17. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold.
Yeah, you're not going to have time to execute justice if you got 1,000 wives. Like Solomon, 700 wives. I mean, come on, brother. 300 concubines. Right? That's off, man. How are you going to be the king? You got to hear all these battles, and you back there trying to figure, doing the thing. Right? You have to have a spirit where you're not vain. Right? As a king, your whole focus should be the Most High, man. Just like brothers in this truth, as kings, we should be worried about multiplying wives to ourselves. I want 5 wives. I want 7. Well, you're not going to have time to do the work. Right? Hey, man, it don't work like that. I want a whole bunch of cars because I'm an Israelite. I deserve it. Right, brother? You always working on your cars. You got all these wives. You can't study. You can't read. So kings, really, you should have, a little business, because all your business is serving Israel, getting things in order, making sure the priests. Look how David was king. David set up the singing men, the singing women. He did the blueprint for the temple of the Lord. He got the materials for the temple of the Lord. He went to war. David did everything that they're supposed to do as a king, man. And these are our examples that we have to have, man. Look at Hezekiah. Look at Josiah. Look at David. Look at Mashiach Yahushua. These are our kings. Yahushua been a king of kings. So you want to know anything about being a king, read the book of Kings, man.
Go. 1 Corinthians 7, I can't remember the verse off the top of my head. It says, he who has a wife has to care of things of this world, man. How much more if you got 8 wives, man? You're going to have to, look, we're going to go here this day. I got you next week. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You're going to be lost in the sauce, man. And then it says, you're going to be stretched out, man. You're going to be broke. And then it says, you shall not greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. Right. Now, why shouldn't a king greatly multiply silver and gold to himself? Vanity, because when you get too much, you're going to say, what need do I have of the Most High? Right? God, that's why you shouldn't greatly multiply money into yourself, man. And that goes for us too, man. You shouldn't be laboring just to be rich. Right? Enough that you have is sufficient for thee, man. You can have a little stored away for a rainy day, but you don't want to be walking around with 5 million like, well, shoot, I don't got no problems. I don't got no worries. Then you're going to deny the Most High. Then you're going to be like, well, the Lord didn't give me this money. I got this money. Right? So you got to be mindful of these things.
Quick precept, Proverbs 23 and 4. Labor not to be rich. Cease from thine own wisdom.
Right? So labor not to be rich, man. Labor to have enough where you can help a brother if he's going through something. Right? So your children have had shoes big enough for their feet. Right? Don't have your kids with just one pair of shoes like that's enough. No, make sure they have two, because you never know what can happen, man. And that goes into brothers working, man. Kings gotta work. Kings have to work, man. Tired of hearing I'm like Paul. Paul didn't go to work. No, you're not like Paul. No, you're not damn like I don't know, the 12, man. No, you have to work, man. You gotta labor in this thing, man.
Yeah, quick point. Acts 18:3. And because he was of the same craft, so Paul had a craft, he abode with them and wrought, for they by their occupation were tent makers.
So Paul even worked, man. He was laboring and working, man. You know how nice them tents probably was back in the day?
Right.
They probably had rooms, right? They probably had elevated steps to get up to your bed. Man, the tents was probably dope. Right. So yes, you gotta work, man. You gotta labor. If that means you get your own business. Right? I know brothers who got their own business, they prospering. Brothers working, right? You're gonna have to labor for the so-called white man. Brothers is doing that and they increasing. Right? These things you have to do as a king, man.
Proverbs chapter 30:7. 2 things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and still and take the name of my God in vain.
Right? So that's what you got to pray for, man. Pray that the Lord don't give you not enough where you steal and you blaspheme the name of the Lord. He don't give you too much where you say, well, who is the Lord? Right? And that's perfect right there, man. And all of us are kings, man. So we got to apply these things, man. You don't need to multiply wives to yourself or money, man. Because a lot of us is not good with time management. I know brothers personally. We're not good with time management, man. I know I'm not good with time management.
2 Thessalonians chapter 3 and verse 8. Neither did we eat any man's bread for naught, but wrought with labor and travail night and day, that we might not be chargeable to any of you. So Paul was working long hours, man, because he didn't want to rely on the church of Thessalonica to provide for his lodging, his food, his water. He labored night and day. Just like we traveled to another city. Guess what? Hey, we want to support those brothers. We don't want them to support us, man. You understand? So we're not chargeable to any. Reading on, it says, verse 9, not because we have not power, but to make ourselves an example unto you to follow us. For when we were with you, this we commanded you, that if any would not work, neither should he eat. For we hear that there are some which walk among you disorderly, working not at all, but are busybodies. You got busybodies in this thing. I wonder what Amos is doing. I want to go over Amos. Amos is at work, brother. I want to go to Rudy's house. I want to play the PS4. Rudy's at work. Who can he go to? Who can I hang out with? Brother, your co-worker, brother. Go get a job, huh? Go hang out with your co-workers on the lunch break, huh? And talk about the lunch that y'all got, huh? Or go in the corner and read something. Stop scrolling through your phone. It's 1 in the afternoon. Who can I have fun with today? Damn, landlord knocking at your door. You turning the music up to ignore it while you're scrolling through the phone. That's off, man. Brothers work. You understand? That's how this thing works, man. All right, we got to finish this chapter. 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 8 through 10.
Wow. You can read that through.
God.
Verse number 18.
18. Verse 18, Deuteronomy.
God.
And it shall be when it sitteth upon the throne of his Slakia. And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of the law in a book out of that which is before the priests and Levites.
God, so the king got to write out a copy of all the laws so he can exact the right judgment that goes forth to whatever situation. And right, and brothers are in that spirit because they write out precepts. Right? Brothers write out precepts for certain situations. Brothers got precept books, got notes full of precepts in their phone. Breakdown. Brothers following suit, don't even realize it. That's the law. You gotta write down commandments, man. So brothers keep getting in that habit of writing down commandments in your precept books. Shoot, I done found precept books when I first came into the truth. I'd be like, dang, I knew this back then. Right? So brothers keep writing down stuff, right? Keep writing down precepts as kings.
19. Verse 19. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life.
Hold on, he should do what?
He shall read therein all the days of his life.
Not just on the Sabbath.
All the days of his life.
You got to read all the days of your life if you're a king in this thing. Every day, all day. If you're a king. Now, if you're a Negro, when you got to read every Wednesday, right? One chapter before you go to bed. You know you're tired as hell. I'm going to read myself to sleep. You read 2 chapters and you know you're going to go to sleep. Right? That's off, man. Brothers as kings should be reading all the days of their life. And they write before the priests and the Levites. Because the priests and Levites, oh, you wrote that down wrong. Right? Get it right. So the king can't just sit there and just, I'm writing. No, he's being overcharged by the priests and the Levites, making sure everything is right, man. Every jot, every tittle, because they going to get on. Hey, look, you messed that up. Man. Like they got around Uzziah the king. You know? We can go on, king.
That he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of the law of this law and these statutes, to do them.
See, that's how you increase your fear towards the Lord, by reading. That's how you build up your faith, by reading. That's how you get the knowledge of the Most High, by reading. Can't watch videos all day. You're watching 10 videos a day and reading 1 chapter. That's an abomination. You got to read. The majority of the wisdom, the Lord is going to sup with you and work with you and guide you, man. Stay in your mother's house. Right, let's go on.
Verse 20. That his heart be not lifted up above his brethren.
Yeah, because you're going to read about being humble, being meek, being a servant. The kings of Israel, your heart is not lifted up above your brother. We're all brothers in this thing. He's still the king, and everybody knows that, but in his mind, he's his brother's servant. Huh? Yahushua was the king, and he became a servant unto all. Right? He said he came not to be ministered unto, but to minister. Huh? When Yahushua was the king, nobody, Yahushua, do you need this? No, he was like, let me heal you here. Let me do this here. Let me heal this miracle. Let me take care of you here. Let me wash your feet. Let me do this here. Let me stay up all night and do all A, B, and C. That was Yahushua's ministry last time I checked, man. Last time I checked, Yahushua ain't asked for a damn thing from anybody. Never seen the Lord ask for anything, man, except to serve the Most High. You understand? Yahushua did all of the serving. That's how kings are. And we can go on.
And that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel.
And with that, boom your shovel.
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 We're going to conclude the first part of the Sabbath service. Shalom.
Shalom.